Well, hello, everyone. Happy second day of spring. My name is Casey Volpe, and I am with Susan G. Komen's Community Education and Outreach team. It's my pleasure to welcome you to March's virtual MBC Impact Series event. If you're new to the programming, it is a monthly webinar where we tackle different topics every month. And this month, we are talking about dealing with MBC day-to-day, and we're going to hear from two fabulous women, both currently living with metastatic breast cancer. And they're going to talk to us about their diagnosis story, how they have adjustments they've made, how their lives have changed or not changed, just kind of give us insight into what dealing with it every day has been like for them. So in a moment, I'll introduce them. But first, I want to take a moment to thank our sponsors for the 2024 Impact Series. They are why we're able to provide such valuable programming month in and month out. So thank you to our premier sponsors, AstraZeneca, Gilead, GE Healthcare, and Merck, and to our signature sponsors, Walgreens and Daiichi Sankyo. Last housekeeping note before we dive into the good stuff. While our speakers are talking, please feel free to post your questions in the Q&A feature or hop in the chat and leave some comments for them. There's no set presentation for today. Today is all about you, and this event is for you. So please get involved, ask your questions, make your comments, see if you connect to one another. That's what this platform is going to be used for today. But please remember, our speakers are not able to provide individual medical advice, and they're here to speak from their own experiences. So now I have the wonderful privilege of introducing you to our two panelists. Missy was diagnosed with invasive lobular breast cancer in 2014. Since her recurrence to MBC in late 2018, she's dedicated her time to patient advocacy and is fiercely passionate. She is very proud of her work with Komen. She represented Komen on the Hill and spoke to Congress members about MBC patient issues, and she interviewed two renowned doctors at the National MBC Conference. This year, she was an advocate reviewer for 6 grants on redefining metastatic breast cancer. That might be last year at this point. And a patient advocate on 2 grants awarded from Komen that bring Duke University and North Carolina labs together. She's been involved in fundraising for MBC for the past several years. She chose not to let MBC define who she is, but instead to help researchers with projects that will improve the patient experience and outcome. She believes there may be a cure for MBC and wants to help make it a reality. Our second panelist, Julia. Ms. Hughes has been living with MBC for 9 years, with vast personal involvement in breast cancer topics, skilled in communication, organization, and community support. She wants to help Komen address the needs of the MBC community while ensuring diverse voices and perspectives of the MBC community are included. She has been on a roller coaster journey with her original diagnosis back in February 2015. So after 5 chemos, hair loss, bone biopsy, and scans, there was a change in diagnosis to MBC in June 2015, and she was told she had 6 months to live. Well, she's here with us today, 9 years later. She's had over 50 plus IV chemos, brain surgery, double hip surgery, and oral meds. She's fundraised for Komen Hawaii and leading a top team in dollars, spoken at the 2019 8th annual Susan G. Komen Pink Tie Ball, and was the More Than Pink Inspirational Award winner in Hawaii. She was also in Generations magazine back in 2019 and promoting awareness of breast cancer in all age groups. Both of these fabulous ladies have been on my MBC steering committee for the past 2 years, and it has been a huge privilege to learn from them and work with them. So I'm very excited today. Missy, why don't you come on and you can kick us off with elaborating more on that introduction.
Thank you, Casey, for that introduction. I really appreciate it. Hi, everybody. I'm here to tell you, I was diagnosed in 2014 with invasive lobular breast cancer, and I was very aggressive. I had double mastectomy followed by hysterectomy, and I got the oncotyping back, which I know you all are familiar with, and was told there was like a less than 3% chance I would have a recurrence. Then 4.5 years later, I had a bit of shortness of breath. I was on an airplane, and I thought there was no oxygen in the cabin, and I thought, we're going down. Everyone else is walking around like nothing's going on, and I'm like, we're going down. Well, it was a shortness of breath, and I didn't even really think about it because it was over in 30 seconds. But when I went to my doctor's office, I just mentioned at the end of the appointment, I said, I had this little shortness of breath thing, and she said, let's get a CAT scan, make sure everything's okay. And sure enough, they found a 7-centimeter tumor in my liver of my breast cancer. So I've been living with metastatic breast cancer since 2018, and it has not always been easy. It's up and down all the time, and I try and stay positive, try and live my life, but that's not always possible. But we'll talk about that after we hear from Julia. But that's a little bit about my story, and I can't wait to talk to you all about how MBC has affected you and how we live our lives. But I'm going to turn it over to Julia now, and she'll give you a brief overview of her situation, and then we can get all into the questions and answers section. Julia?
Thank you, Missy. Sorry, I was having a little technical difficulty there. Am I being heard? I think I'm.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. It looks like I'm on. My name is Julia. Thank you for the introduction here. I have been living with cancer and metastatic breast cancer since 2015. It was rather shocking. I'd been doing all the regular checks and the whole 6-month check thing. And at a 6-month recheck, they found something of concern and decided to pull me into an immediate plan for biopsies of my left breast, found several sites, and it just was a Zoom fest from there with PET scans and all of those interesting experiences that go along with initial diagnosis. And I had to make choices between radiation first, mastectomy first, surgery, not just surgery, but chemo and radiation and things like that. And what we decided to do, because it was so aggressive, that we chose to do the chemo. And after that, then it just manifested itself rather quickly. And before my initial treatment was over, I was metastatic breast cancer. And as was shared earlier with Casey, it's been a whirlwind during these last 9 years. So I look forward to sharing the ups and downs of day-to-day life. And you know, there's quite a variety. So thank you so much for joining us today.
Thanks, Julia. The first question we have, and I'll give a little more background because I know we all are on different medications and doing all kinds of things. And if you guys can relate, I have been on Ibrance and Faslodex for the past since 2018 when I was diagnosed, and my tumor has been shrinking, but it doesn't come without side effects, as we all know. There's been tiredness, there's been situations like that, and in the past month, I've had COVID twice, and the second time was really, really bad. I was really, really sick, and you know, I was living my life in the moment, trying to kind of put MBC in the back of my mind while I just got on with my life. And that was an awakening that we do have to be more careful. And that I thought, oh, I had COVID once, I can't get it again. And I got it again 3 weeks later. And it came really hard the second time. And I was really scared. So, you know, as much as maybe the medication is working, it's still, we have a different life where we are so much more susceptible to catch things, and especially in the COVID world right now, right? I mean, like, we have to deal with COVID on top of metastatic breast cancer. It's crazy. So anyway, you know, I was so careful in the beginning, and I kind of got lax because you learn how to live with it, right? And you kind of want to get lax and not make it be the focus of your life all the time. But I kind of got a rude awakening, and I'm starting to listen to my body more, you know, understand if my body says you're too tired to do something, just don't do it. You don't, you know, have to do everything on your calendar every day. You can say no here and there, and you know, just do what you can do and try and live in the moment. Anyway, so the first question, Julia, that we have is, have you had to have any hard conversation with friends or family? And if so, how did you handle it? Do you want to tackle that one, Julia?
Sure. I've been giving a lot of thought to this particular question, especially since I was diagnosed 9 years ago. So I had a lot of those hard conversations a long time ago, and um, people kind of have forgotten that I'm still in diagnosis. And so the conversations are coming up again. Things like, oh, do you still have cancer? Wait, are you still going to the oncologist? You still have an MRI? Why? You know, things like that. So uh, the hard questions and the reality checks, I call them, you know, sometimes it's, I still have cancer and metastatic cancer, and this is what it is. And we talk about that, I haven't had dealt with my hips, and I've had brain surgery, and all that stuff. And what you see on the outside isn't a reflection of what's going on the inside. I could easily smile and put on a little bit of makeup and curl my hair and look normal. But then there's that days when you're far from normal, or you might look like this, but you're still far from normal. And I think it depends on the person that you're sharing the information with as well. Some people are kind of a deer in the headlights look when you tell them, and they're just uh, like, what do you mean? That sounds serious. And how did you get there? But you were in dance class, or you're in Zumba, or you're something. It's like, how can you have that, and how could it be a terminal illness? So I think it really, you have to take each conversation carefully, and then also remind, if you've been fortunate enough to be around a long time, sometimes it comes back to you initiating the conversations again with people, because there's a lot going on in life, and people kind of forget sometimes.
Yeah, I agree with that, Julie. And I remember when I first had to tell my children, that was the hardest thing I had to do ever in my life. And up till that point, I was saying, we beat it. I did the double
Yeah,
mastectomy, I did the hysterectomy, it's out, it's gone, there's no chance it's going to ever return. And then I
yeah,
have to sit them down and say, it came back. It was, and even, I mean, my husband, that's a whole other story. But
right, right.
and then it's hard for them to understand that you'll be on medicine for the rest of your life right now. I mean, I'm hoping there's a cure too, but they're like
Right.
the other day, they're like, so you're good now, right? And you're like, nah, well, I'll be on medicine for the rest of my life. You don't want to like be too dramatic and be like, I'll never be good.
No. Right, right. And when I was first diagnosed, it came out of nowhere. I was an elementary school teacher, and in the middle of second semester, and very involved with the little ones, and fourth grade classroom. And my kids were in high school. My older one was in his second semester junior year, talking about going to college, and my younger ones and all these soccer things, and we're getting all this information in, and we had to just sit them down and have that talk. And when you realize, first there's the chemo part, and that it's aggressive, so I'm losing hair, and I'm very sickly for weeks at a time, and then there's that extra talk of, I don't know if I'm going to be here for graduation. I don't know if, and things like, Mom, where should I go to college? Should I go to college? Should I stay here? Should I? And it's so hard to navigate those questions. And there's the side of you that wants to be there for your kids and be there in the real moments to answer those questions in real time, not try to plan out their entire future over the next 6 months, because you might not be here. And having those real conversations and allowing them to cry one on one, and whether it meant pulling over in a parking lot on the way home from school, and saying, you know what, you want to go to college 5,000 miles away, we'll get you home if something happens. Or
Right.
but there's those down moments that I think sometimes where they didn't know how to even process the feelings. Mom is the strong one. Mom is the one who stays up till midnight and gets up at 5, and has everything ready, and then all of a sudden, Mom can't pick me up from school. she's she's not well. And so I think it's a case by case situation, both for the patient and for the family members. But I think having those real conversations, and kind of keeping tabs on where your family members and close friends are at, and as they're
Mhm.
trying to process it, because um, their life is kind of flashing before their eyes, I think, too, sometimes. And when you have the young people, or even my parents, that was a lot for them, because there's the order of things. And it, every aspect of this has been really hard on them as well. And just everyone that has
Yeah,
to face it, you know.
I agree. I think the most important thing is just to be brutally honest about
Yeah.
everything and just continue to be brutally honest. It's hard to do that the first time, but then it's like there's no other way. If you sugarcoat it, it's going to come back to bite you. So you have to be honest. We have another question coming in
Okay.
from Raquel Gonzalez. Hi, Raquel. Stage 4 MBC, diagnosed in 2020, age 40. How do you deal with the side effects of chemo? Now, Julia, I never had chemo. I went straight to Ibrance and Faslodex, which some people think Ibrance is a type of chemo. That's a whole other story. But why don't you start with that one, Julia?
Oh
I
boy,
will chime
chemo.
in.
Okay. Chemo. Wow. I had over 50, I was like 54 chemos, two main types, and that is brutal. That is so dealing with the side effects of chemo are very similar to the pills that I'm on now, in the sense that I still have a lot of side effects on what I'm on now.
What
But
are you on, Julia?
I'm on oh my gosh,
Ibrance now.
no,
Verzenio?
Nerlinx and Zolota. Nerlinx
Zillow. Okay.
and Zolota.
Okay.
Yes. I have ER positive, PR negative, HER2 positive
Okay.
is what I have. And but chemo is definitely a whole nother ball game, because you're sitting there for anywhere from 3 to 6 hours with this poison going into your arm. And so I say, again, it's an opinion thing. Find the things that comfort you. There's things the day of, and then there's the things as the day progresses. So I was always a person that any I'd wear my fun socks. I'd have my a blanket of choice. I'd have my own little pillow. Um, I tried to make light of it. I use a lot of humor, but the reality was the nausea, the achiness, and the all of that. I would find things that, sometimes it meant sourdough bread and cheddar cheese. If that was my go-to, I'd say go buy a loaf of sourdough bread and cheddar cheese, because that is what I'm going to keep down. Sometimes it would be Coca-Colas or something that, they'd say, try ginger ale, try saltines, try this. And I'd say, I just want the nausea to stop. That was the big thing. And then there would be the achiness, and the fatigue, the terrible fatigue. And I would be really hard on myself. Like I should just be able to solve this. And so there's the times that the doctor will, well, do you want this pill for that, and this pill for that, and this pill for that? And all of a sudden I had 30 pills that I thought that was way, why am I taking 30 pills and a couple pints of poison? So I started to eliminate things that I didn't find that I needed to deal with. And then I decided to just eliminate things and pull in little things that were most helpful to me, and while also trying to make healthy choices. It's a lot to take in at one time. So
I think
it,
that's great advice, though. I think do what comforts you. Like this is a
yeah,
time to be very self-aware and do what makes
yes,
you feel good, because you got to do that for your body and for your mind and everything. So I think it's really good advice.
thank you. I think that's what's so important about these kind of situations, is just knowing that it's not a one size fits all, not in
Right.
a diagnosis, not in the lives that we're living, and not in the way we're going to experience the MBC or the side effects. We could be on this very same drug and
It'd
treatment
be
plan and
absolutely.
be completely different.
I
I've
know.
had friends that go, "Oh, that doesn't make me sick at all. I'm surprised you're achy." I had an appointment last week and I had an injection, and it makes me feel terrible for days. And I have friends that go, "Oh, I get that injection." And
I think you're right. I think you have to listen to your body though and do what makes you feel good
yes,
and treat yourself kindly. We have
yes.
another question coming in. My sister got diagnosed with breast cancer last week, and at first the doctor had told us that she would need a mastectomy, but after her PET scan, they found cancer in other areas and have told her that she is most likely in stage 4 cancer. Is there hope? We don't have a history of this illness in our family, and we don't know how to navigate any of this. Please help. I can answer this. I can give you my feedback on this because this is very similar to my situation. There is no history of cancer in my family as well. My grandma had a type of cancer that isn't similar to mine at all. And we were just blown out of the water. I was 46 when I was diagnosed with my first tumor in my breast. But there is hope. I have to tell you, there is hope. I have been on Ibrance and Faslodex. I have estrogen positive, HER2 negative breast cancer, although I have a little bit of HER2. And they have had me on Ibrance, which is a pill you take every day for 3 weeks. You're off for a week, and I'm getting injections every month of Faslodex. And my tumor was 7 centimeters when I was first diagnosed, and now it's 2 centimeters. So it has been shrinking since the beginning. And these are all new medications. The Ibrance was I think just developed in like 2015 or somewhere around there. It's a relatively new pill. And now they're coming up with immunotherapy and all kinds of other new treatments that are not going to make you feel as bad. And they've got really, really specific treatments for your type of cancer, because there are so many different types of cancer. So I think the most important thing you can do is have hope, okay? And also get her tested for everything you can get her tested for, and find a doctor that you really trust. And once they do all the testing, they're going to find a customized treatment that will really help you. There's so much available now, and it's getting better by the minute. So I hope this gives you hope, and hang in there because she's going to need you.
I'd like to add to that as well. I agree that hope is the starting point. Is when you're faced with this diagnosis. I too was kind of blindsided. You know, I had a 6-month recheck, and then all of a sudden moved into this fast-paced experience, and it advanced really quickly to stage 4 with 6 months to live. Is what at that time, that's what the doctor had told me. And so I left the office with that kind of information going, wait, I'm on treatment and you gave me 6 months. And this was back in 2015. Don't listen to
Right.
numbers.
Look at what you're doing.
Nobody knows. Nobody
Right.
knows what your body's going to do. And as what Missy said, there have been so many advances at that time, and when I was diagnosed, stage 4, the first line of treatment didn't work. So then it bumped up to stage 4. It moved into my back, and they said, well, we only have one other treatment plan for you. So they weren't very positive. They said, get your affairs in order, say byes, do all the things, because, this is it. And I actually believed that. And at the time, and I thought, if I had an opportunity and to give back to others, I'd say don't listen to that kind of data. Be real about what cancer you have and what treatment options are available to you. Ask all the questions. Find out, it doesn't matter how small the pain is, where it's at. You might say, oh, this is weird. I have this pain in my knee. Is this related? I have a pain in my head that hasn't gone away. Is this related? Be open with your doctors. And if the doctor isn't a good fit, or the office personnel isn't a good fit, if the nurses aren't a good fit, there are a number of places for you to go. And the internet has greatly advanced. There's a lot of support groups and programs, and not only with Komen, but a number of other organizations that put out data and research and information that is very helpful. And being positive, if you're I'm a believer, so I call on my faith to get me through everything, pray about everything. And, but don't give up. Don't
Right.
lose hope. Don't succumb to the diagnosis. Be sad in the moment, but what do we do next type of
I agree.
thing.
That's really good advice like that. Jessica also asked as a follow-up question, what type of test? I hate to give specific advice on that, but just have her talk to her doctor, find out what kind of cancer it is and find out what the treatments are. And there's all kinds of, PET scans, CAT scans, MRIs. I'm sure she'll get these tests, but the most important thing is to find out what kind of cancer she has and what treatments are available. Okay, we have some more questions coming in.
Wow.
Okay, here we go. What involvement, hobbies, or various support have you sought out that was helpful for your quality of life? I can start with that. I will say when I was diagnosed with metastatic breast cancer, I said, I need to find out what's going on with research. I thought, as we all do, we get on the internet and just go into like the black hole of metastatic breast cancer, which is never a good idea, right? We all learn that.
Pros and cons.
And you're looking at the survival rates and all of that stuff. And I did do all of that. And then I thought, I need to find out what's really happening with research. And I was lucky enough that I knew some people involved with Susan G. Komen and also Lineberger Cancer Center, which is here in North Carolina. And so I reached out to them and was able to be a patient advocate for some different research projects. And boy, when you talk to scientists about what's going on, it's like they've got great ideas. It's just a matter of getting it through research, getting it through clinical trials, getting it on the shelves, and making sure it works. You have to go through a lot of hoops to get any medication on the shelves, as we all know. So I really found some strength in that and becoming involved in research and research advocacy. And I also felt more knowledgeable, which I think gave me power to really kind of talk to my doctor about what's going on in research and what's coming up around the corner. And I've heard about this or that. So I think becoming knowledgeable, maybe not on the internet, but maybe with, through patient advocacy, where you can find out what's really going on in research, that really helped me. And I've put a lot of hours into that. What about you, Julia?
It's varied over the 9 years, I'd have to say, as to what contributed to my quality of life. In the beginning, it was all about my 2 children, being in high school and then in college. I was very eager to be a part of, that I went from working to not being able to work. So I kind of shifted that over to how can I be present for my kids in a different way and almost supersede my own passing in some way. So I would, take the trips and bring my son to college and send care packages and do all that with that one, and over photograph my younger one at soccer games. Every single soccer game we had 1,000 photos, and I tried to capture just everything and journal things and take photos of things, and then I stayed on as PTSA president for my younger one's high school after he graduated. I'm like, I need to stay with this and keep giving back to kids, because I could no longer be a school teacher full time. So, I would find those kinds of things. And then along with that, I would do Komen things and events locally, and try to help people and share information, and look for ways to help those that are diagnosed. There's not a lot of information available locally when you're diagnosed, and there'd be little pamphlets and things like that. So I tried to actually educate Komen, Hawaii at the time, because it was about survivorship and early prevention, early cure. So I found myself kind of doubling back and helping even the local community understand metastatic breast cancer. So then that led to some other things, and staying. I wouldn't say staying busy, being mindful of what your choices are, knowing that you still have a purpose, even if your career changes or your plan changes. I certainly didn't say, oh, I think I want to have metastatic breast cancer and have a a predetermined end date in my mind. But I'm sometimes reminded by certain people that, well, we're all passing. And I'm like, yeah, but I don't like I don't like knowing that I have something in me that is like a time bomb ready to go off, right? But so I think being intentional with your time,
Mm.
um, if there's things that bring you joy, hot, painting or crafts or note card making or travel or whatnot, I think you should make time for those things. I'm a very faith-based person. I do enjoy prayer ministry and Bible groups and things of that nature, and Bible reading and reading of books, fictional books and self-help books and leadership books, and I like people, so I like being around others, and which means, I had to learn that too. Of well, I go to Silver Sneakers. I'm 54 years old, and my BFFs are 76. So I go to Silver Sneakers and Zumba Gold and Aqua Zumba because my hips are not 54 and my
Right,
body
right.
is not there. So, you have to modify. You have to,
I think you
uh,
make a good point. I think it's all about finding what fits your new you and how you feel
right.
now, and being self-aware and a little
Exactly.
selfish. Like, I do what you want to do because your time is definitely could be limited. Hopefully not,
But
but
yeah,
it is
there, like you said, it may not be. You might, I have been here 9 years, and which is a blessing every time.
yeah,
Every time I think about that, because I remember that day as if it was last week.
right.
I was like, what? No, I'm 45 and I have stuff,
Still strong.
and then
I
now,
know.
and it's hard, and
Yeah,
even you know every day is hard in its own way. There's
right.
life that still is going on, and then you're nauseous, or you're not feeling well, or you just know your fatigue level is at a level
And
that is
that's why
not normal.
you definitely have to listen to yourself. We have some more questions coming up. I
Yes.
want to finalize and say Facebook groups are kind of nice. They have like metastatic breast cancer Facebook groups that can offer support and sometimes advice. And I also think surround yourself with positive people, and that helps your total well-being. Okay, the next question is from Jean Wally. My younger sister was first diagnosed in 2020 at age 38. Different breast cancer to mine at 44, so Jean has cancer as well. Hers has just come back metastatic, spread to a tumor on her sternum and some lymph nodes, small spot on her brain that they did radiation on. Just started chemo again. Mainly need to know how best to support her on the day-to-day. She had a lot of knee pain this week. That's tough. I do think just being there, and I will say the thing that I didn't like being asked was, what can I do for you? Because it's kind of like, if you just show up and bring food, or just show up and I'm going to walk your dog today, or I'm going to throw a laundry in the washing machine, like be proactive and just say, I'll be there. You know what I mean? I think being there is so important. And then when you're there doing some little things that can make a huge difference for, especially if she has children and she's got to keep up with all that. I'm going to pick the kids up after school and give you the afternoon to yourself. Whatever can help her ease her lifestyle, her whatever she's going through. If you can just be thoughtful in that way and give her the help she needs specific to her, I think she would really appreciate that. What do you think, Julia?
I agree. I appreciated when friends, or it's mostly friends from my school or from the kids' school, would say, "Oh, would you like me to give them a ride home from school?"
Yeah,
Or
that's a good one.
can I I'm making a pasta dish, or I'm making this thing. Would you like to have some? Or what time can I bring dinner over?
That's even better.
It was more just, and then there's those times that depending on your relationship, it's like, how are you feeling this week? Is there anything that I could help you with? because sometimes, you know, it's a delicate situation.
Right.
Sometimes it's like, I don't want all the things to be taken away from me, because maybe those are the things that I can actually do. And there's other things that, you know, maybe I can't be up and vacuuming, but I can be in the kitchen and make the dinner for my family, or whatnot. But I do think that doing something is very much appreciated,
Right.
even if it's little things like reaching out with fun little care packages. I remember I had a group deliver all this basket of goodies, and they had notes on everything. This is for when your throat hurts, or this is when you need a laugh, or this is when they had, it was really
That's
just like,
cute. That's really
oh,
cute.
you know,
Yeah,
and you just like, you just
that's
feel
really
so,
sweet.
you feel the love. And or just text messages, or just thinking of you this morning, or,
Right.
you know, just because you kind of get removed from such a big group of your life, and
Yeah.
all of a sudden your people are gone, it feels like. And, you know, you're sitting at home trying to recover or figure out where your life is going, and you think, wow, I used to talk to this person every day, and I haven't heard from them in months. And
Right.
well, where's my value and purpose? Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I think that this is her sister, so I think she's probably very close to her and
Yeah,
figure out what she needs and help in that way. Sometimes people just want somebody to come and watch a movie with. Like if she's
right.
by herself, you know, I think spending a lot of time by yourself, which can happen in this situation because people get
Right.
back to their lives. And you're
Yeah.
right, send a little text, say, I'm coming over to watch a movie, or drop off a funny movie, or just be there for her. I think having
Yeah.
knowing she's there for you by the text and by just
Yes.
checking in is so important. So so important.
And be consistent, because in the beginning the news is heavy and it's right in your face. And like her sister, it's going to be a continuous process, just like she
Right.
knows it's a continuous process. And with all these um diagnoses and experiences that she's had of the tumor and the spot on the brain and all this, and just man, I it sounds so oddly familiar to me, just having to deal with the brain part, and the you know, having the tumor markers in my back, and um on and off chemo, and it just having somebody right there in your corner, feeling like you're not doing life alone. I think there's
Right.
nothing worse than feeling that loneliness of doing life by yourself and feeling like you have to do it all. So being there at her side and just reminding her that she's right
And
there.
hopefully she's the type of sister that will ask for what she needs or wants
Yeah,
because some people
exactly.
won't, but if she is, then you're lucky. And if she's not, I'm sure you can figure it out because you're her sister and she'll
Oh,
let you. All right, we have more questions. Okay, here we go. What do you do to reset or to get your mind right when you're feeling overwhelmed about your diagnosis or fear of the future? Hmm, that's a tough one. You know what? It's okay to feel a little sad sometimes, right? We've all
I
been there and it's okay.
exactly.
And
I
it'll pass. It'll pass because
Yeah,
something will happen that'll bring you joy. It'll come out of nowhere and you'll be like, you know what? I'm still here. I'm still living. I still have a heartbeat. I still, you remind yourself of what you have and what you're grateful for. And there's always something. You're grateful for the breath you're breathing. You know, it can be as simple as that. And I'm not saying that's easy because you can get low. We've all been so low. And I think you have to go back to the basics and say, I'm grateful for this, I'm grateful for that. And then something will happen and you'll be very happy you're alive and hopefully won't be too worried about the future. I do think it's really hard to get to a place where you're not constantly worried about the future and worried about when you're going to die or, oh my God, am I going to live to see my children grow up and all of that stuff that you really want to do. But I think if you focus on what you're grateful for, that can really help. Don't you think so, Julia?
absolutely. I think that there's been times that, I tell myself, I used to say, you should be grateful. You should be thankful you woke up today, and you should be thankful you got out of bed, and da 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 da. And then I would feel worse because I'm like, oh, I'm not feeling so grateful as I'm laying in bed and I can't move and my eyes are too tired to read and I don't want to watch TV or talk on the phone or listen to, I don't feel good. And then I realized that, I think it's okay to be sad and have to let your body heal and just close your eyes and go to sleep for a little while and then just come back to that moment and go, oh, that okay, things are better. And and sometimes I'll be crying terribly, hair in that awful bun, no makeup for, dirty hair for days and pajamas that need to be replaced and those big puffy eyes and I'll just crying in the mirror going, you've survived 100% of your days. Stop crying. And I'd be
Right,
like, ooh, but it's so true. If you think about it, you've survived every single day.
right. Since
So
you were diagnosed, you're still here, you're still
yeah,
alive, you're still
and
breathing.
and that's how I often will answer someone, how you doing with the diet? I'm still here,
Mhm, mhm.
keeping on and just I try to be positive, but most of all, I try to be faithful and
Mhm.
hopeful, and know that well, God has a purpose for me. I don't always know what it is, and I don't like how He's getting me there. But and I was like, I feel like I've learned these lessons already, and I've gone through hard stuff. Why do we have to do another hard stuff?
I
And
know, I hear
I already
you.
have a good story. I don't need more story.
Enough already. Enough already. I'm ready to get done with my story. I hear you, but I
Can we
think
just
that's
do the
all.
living part? Yeah,
Yeah,
I don't want to add to my story.
right.
So,
I
yeah,
know, I know, I know. I'm with you. I'm always trying to see the lesson in what's going on in my life, and I do think it's there. It's
yes.
just, sometimes some of us have maybe too many lessons. But anyway,
Yeah.
we have some more questions coming.
Oh gosh,
So
we gotta
moving on.
not miss
So
anybody.
next, I'm currently on HER2. My hair has started to fall off. It's been quite emotional. How do you deal with the physical changes on your body from MBC? This is a tough one.
Yeah,
Um, this was hard for me too, really hard. I think it's very hard. I don't have an easy answer for this one. I think you put your hair in a ponytail or whatever, you put a scarf on and do the best you can and try and stay focused on your gratitude for the things you do have. I don't have an easy answer for this. It was very hard for me.
yeah,
And you can get hair pieces, you can get wigs, you can do those things if that would make you feel better. I mean, and the physical things, you just have to give yourself a break. You have to let yourself heal. So I feel like, you will have physical changes, but you're going to have a new you. You're going to get in a schedule where, at least I did, and I hope this happens for you, where the weeks you're going to feel good and you may know, okay, I'm coming towards the end of my eye brands. I might feel a little worse this week. I'm going to get my shot. I might have a couple down days, but you can work around it. And I'm hoping that you can do that. And if you need to, take some pills for your hair or, get a wig or extensions or any of that, whatever you need to do to make yourself feel good, please do that for yourself. And hopefully you'll figure out what you can do physically and you'll find a new place where you're comfortable in. What do you think, Julia?
absolutely. It's very important to give yourself permission to accept the changes, and that your beauty and your personality and your soul and who you are is really what matters, and that's what's on the inside. And I think that finding ways to express that in new outer ways is the key. I did go completely bald, and thus, since my hair will grow right now, I keep it. So I was completely bald for about 8 months, and I didn't like the feeling of hair pieces. But I went to Ross and bought like 13 scarves and turned on YouTube and said, let's see what I can do. And I started I washed them all first because, we have to be worried about germs and all that. Washed them all. I had them in all these different colors. I learned how to make scarves out of the bottom of t-shirts. And I had something matching for every single day. I did my makeup. I had to paint on my eyebrows because I didn't have eyebrows. And I just, it was odd. I can't say it was completely normal. I don't like the term new normal because who wants that new normal? But it is your life. And I realized that if this is the worst of it, if being here and not being here with no hair and just not being here, and
Right.
I thought, ooh, and
You'll
then
take no hair. Yeah.
yeah, I'm like, I guess I would take no hair.
Right.
And I've had experiences with weight gain. I chunked up nicely. I won't blow away, let's just say that. And I've had to kind of rein that in, and I'm working on that. But it's like, gosh, your body just goes in all these weird directions, and it
It's
and
not
you're
easy. There's
it,
no
it's
easy. It's just not. And I wish I could give an easy fix. It is something we all deal with, and
just
it's hard.
give yourself grace to try some new things.
Right.
And look at type in positive responses to this kind of experience. That some women have really gone wild with the no hair or the
Yeah.
wigs
There's
or
stuff all over the internet about
pink
what to do.
wigs and yeah, weird things. And
Yeah.
hey, I when I had brain surgery, they had to shave the I had quite a big spot where my head was shaved. So the
Right.
whole, if I put my hair up in a ponytail, it was all shaved back there. And I was like, oh, that's a lot. So I shaved the rest of it back there. And I'm not that kind of a person to have a shaved head, but I just would wear a ponytail with this full shaved head and this
That's
big
cool. That's
scar.
like rock star right there.
I felt so tough. Like I want some tattoos,
Oh, that's
and I thought
hilarious.
I would go to church and I'm like, hey, you want to see my scar and my shaved head? And they just be
Love
like,
it.
huh, who are
I mean, I
you?
love that attitude. I think that's
But
great. I
you
think
just,
you turned a corner at some point because I think
yeah,
you're going to be sad for a while when your hair
yes.
starts to fall out. There's no way around it.
Oh,
It's very hard.
oh,
But then
when it,
eventually you will
yeah,
come to a place where you either wear scarves or get a hairpiece or put your hair in a freaking rock star ponytail, whatever
yeah,
works. And,
whatever
just
works.
do you
Wear
and
hats,
wear
There's so
hats.
many
Hats
fun
are so
hats.
in.
Yeah, they're
Whatever
just,
makes you feel better.
yeah, just, um,
Not easy though, but
find some joy. And if it means I like the idea of recreating yourself, and
yeah,
it's not a new normal. It's working with what the pieces that you've been given. You kind of got switched up in mid game there, and
yeah.
try some new things. But no, never think it's easy, or hey, she did it. I heard Julia and Missy say they got through it, so I need to get through it. No, it's not easy.
Not
it's,
easy.
it's
And it
definitely
takes
not.
time and it's hard. Yeah.
Yeah,
But good
yeah,
luck to you. And I hope you find
yeah,
something that makes you feel better and brings you peace. Okay.
absolutely.
We have a few nice comments I want to
Oh,
read. Jean Wally says, thank you. I love that we are faith-based as well. 3 sisters and our mom. We live together. One thing I learned from an older survivor is find something to thank God for every day. My mantra, some days you have to look harder than others, but it's there. And then we have another nice comment from Pam Cole. Sometimes I just want my sister to come and sit in the comfy chair in my bedroom, even if I am napping, which is very sweet.
very,
Very,
that's
very.
so true. Just that,
That's what we were saying. It's like it may not be much, just being there and know that someone's
yeah,
there and you can look over and smile. I mean, having company is nice. You want if you know somebody who's going through this, I would make sure they're not isolated because that is where you can spiral a little bit, right? If you're by
yeah,
yourself too
you
much.
kind of
So
moves into somewhat, whether it's clinical or not, like a depression, loneliness place if you do feel alone and you start to lose hope or gets, over scared and anxiety ridden. And yeah, I've been there,
we
definitely.
have a lot more comments coming. Let's see. MBC stage 4, feeling happy. Eva Shack, thank you for that comment.
Thank you.
Susie Evans, MBC stage 4,
Uh-huh.
staying hopeful, love it. Another question, any specific resources, this might have to be the last question, you found to help cope with the side effects, and how do you balance your life, continue to feel like a person? I
Second's better, but no.
Yeah. I mean, I think your
Just what
doctor's
you,
your best resource. I'd be very careful about
yeah,
going all over the internet and doing all
yeah,
that. I think your doctor's your best resource because they know exactly what you have. I think if you go on the
yes,
internet or go other places, you may run into some bad information. And I mean, a second opinion is never a bad idea. Another doctor that maybe specifies in your type of cancer. I did that when I was first diagnosed, and he told me I was on the right course, but he certainly made me feel more comfortable about what I was doing. And if
yeah,
you can find someone who specializes, because I have lobular breast cancer and I found a specialist for that. So that would be something that would be a good resource, I think. But I wouldn't veer too far away from, doctors and experts. I wouldn't go on the internet. I feel like some
right.
places can be misleading.
Be
Do you
too
think so
many.
too, Julia? Yeah.
Yes, you can get inundated. I have people all through the years come up to me, you should try this, you should try that, and uh,
I have had
I'm
that
just-
too. Like the diet, like you got to do this diet and this diet. I'm like, oh my God.
this
Yeah.
pan or this exercise or this that.
Yeah.
I think you have to really take control of your life and be aware that there are a lot of paths you could be on with your treatment plan. Knowing your body is key. Being aware of all the medications you're on.
Right.
I think uh, don't just, I guess, take a pill to deal with a side effect real quickly, because sometimes that pill creates a new side effect and then that one creates another new side
And
effect.
always run that by your doctor. If you're
Exactly.
anything, because some of that stuff
Anything.
may not work with medication. You
Right.
have to be really
Right.
careful.
Even the homeopathic things or the vitamins and stuff, they want to know all the things you're taking. And if you go to a new, maybe you're going to another doctor for something else outside of your oncologist, it's important that they all know what you're taking, even if it seems minor.
Right.
Because, and then aside from that, say I guess I'm back to the, if the sourdough bread alleviates your nausea or whatever, your thing, if Cheerios helps you with your
Right.
nausea, keep them on hand. I've gone through times where I had a box of Cheerios next to my bed, and at 3 in the morning I'm like crunchy, 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 because I have
Well, I have like I kind of get low blood pressure throughout and I have Gatorade that I drink constantly because my doctor
yeah.
said that's what you
I'm
should do.
I'm a
That'll give you energy.
Pedialyte
There
person,
you
so
go.
I'm like, go baby Pedialyte.
Something
It's
that
like
gives you energy. Talk to your
what?
doctor about that.
Yeah,
Absolutely. And then
yeah,
I do take a laxative at night because I was having some
right,
constipation issues with my medication. Talk to your
yeah,
doctor about that. I mean, there's all kinds of
exactly.
things you can do, but be specific with your doctor
Yes,
and then
yes,
see what they tell you should do for your side effects.
exactly,
There's all kinds
exactly.
of things you can do for side
Yeah.
effects. If the heating pad makes you feel better,
Oh
use that.
yeah. Oh,
I used
the
to make
heating
sure
pad.
you feel better. Use
I forgot
heating
about
pads, right?
the heating pad. That's with my secret boyfriend.
Heating pads are heating pads are fabulous.
Every night we like meet up.
All right, that might be too much information. Okay, here we
For my back and my
I
hip.
know, I know, I know, I know. Okay, but unfortunately, we're running out of
Oh,
time. It's time
okay.
to wrap up. I thought that was a great conversation. Thanks for all the great
Wow.
questions and comments. That went by fast, didn't it? Oh, a
It
few more
did
comments I want
actually.
to read.
Okay.
I bought myself some colorful wigs to make things fun.
Yay.
I cried when my hair fell out. Now I'm okay with it. I got used to scarves. So we've got some cute little answers. And I
Yes,
thank you for
yes.
everyone tuning in and having great questions and answers. And I'm going to throw it back to Casey to wrap us up. Thanks, Julia. That was a lot of fun.
Thank you. Thank you. I enjoyed it as well.
Hi, ladies. Thank you so much. So real quickly, before I do our little wrap up here, last question. What is the number one piece of advice you would give to somebody newly diagnosed?
Is Missy still on here? I'll start.
Yeah, she's coming back.
I'll come back. You can
Okay,
start.
hi, Missy. Number one piece of advice for someone newly diagnosed, was that the question?
Yes.
I would say give yourself time to take in the information, experience the emotions of it, and have hope. You are not alone, and I want to say I hope you're a believer and rely on your faith, but I just believe that would be the path I would suggest.
And I would say, I know you're going to get on that internet, but that overall survival rate you will see, and you're going to see that again and again. And it's just a judgment, and some of those are really old and don't even apply anymore. So just have hope and realize that there's new medicine coming around the corner all the time, and they're very customized now, and they'll find something that works for you. So
yeah,
I agree, just have hope and talk to your doctor and find some support in your friends and your family.
Yeah, hang in there, guys. You got this. God's on your side. I'm rooting for you.
Awesome.
Sending aloha too.
Oh. Well, we all can't live on Hawaii, Julia.
I can send it. I can send it. I'm sending
Okay.
it. I'm sharing.
All right, you two. Thank you so much today. It really was a great conversation. Thank you, audience members, for hopping in the chat and sharing some of your stories. I really hope you found today valuable. And if you see room for improvement or you enjoyed today, hop in the chat, click that survey link for me, and just give us a little bit of feedback. It'll only take a second, and it really does help make sure we're putting out valuable content for you every month. So today's session was recorded, and it's going to be posted to our landing page soon. It'll also be delivered to your inbox at the email you registered with. So if you liked today, or you feel like today might help facilitate some conversations with your loved ones that maybe you've been struggling with, feel free to share that link with them when you get it. Once again, I just have to acknowledge our sponsors very quickly for allowing us to provide this conversation today. So thank you to GE Healthcare, AstraZeneca, Merck, and Gilead, and then our signature sponsors, Walgreens and Daiichi Sankyo. All right, guys. So finally, the next MBC Impact Series event will be April 23rd, and it's going to focus on metastatic inflammatory breast cancer. So if you are interested in that, the link is now live on our landing page, komen.org/MBC series, and we hope to see you there. If not, I hope you stay engaged so you can hop on another one soon. So thank you so much for joining today. Thanks for everyone who made this event possible. Stay safe and stay connected.